Hello and you're very welcome to Cork County Matters here in Irish TV. I'm Pierce McCarthy. Well, coming up in this week's show, it's the third of our 4 visits to the islands off the west coast of Cork. We're going to visit Dursey Island, where amongst others we're going to meet a lady by the name of Anne, who's putting on a bit of a shindig on the island. And then we're going to nip across to Shurkin, where there's an arts festival going on for the weekend. So we're going to meet some of the people behind that. We're also going to meet some people who are into dancing and also a local musician. So come with me and let's see how the islanders do it. Okay, I'm here with Majella, a long-time resident of the island and an artist. Majella, how are you?
Very welcome, thank you.
We're here stood in front of some of your fine artwork. Now, the kind of feeling I'm getting about the island is that art is very, very important here.
Yeah, art would probably be as important as fishing and farming would have been 2 decades ago. There's a lot of artists from Shurkin Island that live here all year round, and today in this exhibition is a showcase of their work. But we also have a degree course from DIT, which operates during the winter time from September to May. And students, we have 40 of them, that it's open to all island people as well as people from the mainland. So instead of people going out to education, they come in. So they come in 2 weekends, 1 long one and 1 short one, and then they go home and they work in their studios. So it's very different to going to any other art college. It's a very unique course. I don't think there's any in the country or in Europe like it, because I suppose they're practicing from day one to what it is like to be a real artist, rather than coming in at 9 to 5 and then, you know, when they're finished college, at least when they're back in their own studios, they've made friends from people that are on the course, as well as they're in a situation where they're practicing their art.
One of the big problems that are facing the islands now is the population dropping.
Yeah.
But a course like this, you're bringing people to the island.
Yes.
And I mean, as you said, it's taking over from the old skills, which was the fishing and maybe the farming. And here you are now, hopefully repopulating islands, but also bringing something back to them as well. Yeah,
it brings great excitement because the community, I suppose why the course is so successful is the community on Shurkin were so open and generous, and we're so happy when people came in the winter time. It kept the ferry going, it keeps the hotel and the jolly, and you know, everybody gets a spin off from it, and people make friends with the locals. And then at the end of May there's a degree show coming up next year, and they'll showcase all their work in, like people will open their kitchens or their, you know, farmhouses.
Every space available, really.
Exactly. On the beach, everyone is open to, you know, giving them as much I suppose help when they are exhibiting their work at the end, because they would have spent 4 years, so people would really get to know, you know, them as individuals. And then there's always a bit of crack in the pub, and they've a bit of, you know, sometimes a bit of a Curating dancing and stuff, and everybody gets involved. And we have 2 students that are permanently living here now, and they're a mighty asset to the place because it's 2 new lights on the island, and that's what really makes, I suppose, the course, when people see that people are happy to move down here and to integrate and become part, as much islanders as the islanders themselves.
You came here for 6 months, and 22 years later you're still here.
That's right, 1993 I came here to work at the marine station, just for 6 months, and yeah, I'm still here 22 years later.
Black and white photography, I mean, it's not something that everybody does. It's an art form in itself. Can you explain to me a little bit about why you chose to...
It's something I've done, well, for years since school, and when I came here I was doing photography still as a hobby, and I said to one of the ladies on the island that I'd like to do a project where I could do a year in the life of Shurkin Island and have an archive of photographs left for people in 100 years' time to look at. And she said it was an excellent idea, and I got funded through the FORCE programme. And yeah, so part of this exhibition we have here is the photographs I took in 95 and 96. And as I was saying to you earlier, I thought they'd be of interest to people in 100 years' time, but people are coming in just 15 years later and reminiscing about the days. And
just as well, really, because I suppose you can kind of enjoy their reminiscing about it too.
Well,
In
yeah,
100 years'
yeah.
time, I don't think either of us will be around for this one.
Well, I don't think so, no.
So are you still, I mean, what is it about this island that has kept you here?
The people and the place. It's not somewhere that would suit everybody. Certainly visitors in the summer will say, well, what do you do in the winter? But we do the same as everybody else. We go and visit friends, we'll go down the pub, we'll do our shopping, we'll sit at home and work on the computer.
And work-wise, photography-wise, are you still clicking away?
I'm still clicking away, still using old film cameras, still using black and white film. I sell my pictures during the summer months, and again, working on the island, you've got to be a jack of all trades. So I'll do other jobs in the winter time, working on the oyster farm or anything like that. But yeah, photography is my main. It's what I think about every day.
What has struck me about walking around the island today, I mean, I know there's a festival, this is part of
the West Cork Islands exhibition, where all the islands in West Cork, there's 7 or 8 of them, they're all open for visitors to come and see what island life is like.
Okay, I'm here with Joe, somebody who's come into the island a long time and somebody who's been a driving force behind this art exhibition that's going on in the island. It's amazing, isn't it?
It's wonderful, and what's absolutely fabulous about it is that we've had nearly, I think it's half the population we discovered in one way or another did something creative, whether as a pastime or professionally or in some way was linked to a business enterprise that was attached to creativity in some way. And it was just fantastic. We put the word out, and as happens on Shurkin, people just came with work and ideas, and it just kind of grew to a moment where it was like, oh my gosh, you know, it needed quite a bit of curating to fit it all together. But it's you've seen the show, and it's a real credit to the island. So it was in that way dead easy for me to put together because there was so much wonderful work.
And I suppose as a creative person yourself, when you're spending so much time here and art is your passion, to find out that half the islanders are as creative themselves, that must be very refreshing from a creative point of view.
Yes, it is, because I mean Shurkin is kind of known. I'm a painter, it's known for its painting. There's the Bachelor in Visual Arts course, of course, the part of DIT, and what's great is just seeing all these other aspects and how they can now, we've all seen it. It's been lovely, the island, realising how it can all cross-fertilise and given people who are feeling maybe a little bit shy about coming forward, having the sort of courage and confidence to show their work, which is marvellous.
What is it about this place that keeps you coming back time and time and time again?
Well, part of it is that my partner's family are from Skirkin originally and moved over here about 40 years ago. So that was an initial driver, but it's because it's a strange and magical place, but also the community here is very, very special, and you're like held by the island and held by the people, which is just wonderful and rare in this world nowadays.
You were born and reared here.
I was, yeah.
And you went to boarding school, you were telling me, when you were a teenager.
I went to boarding school, I didn't like it, so I left when I was 15. And I went to London because I was always into art, and I went straight to Chelsea because that's where the artists live. When I got there I couldn't see any artists and I was really disappointed, but over the years I lived there for maybe 10 years and I got to know all the art students that were going to the Chelsea Art School, and I could go in there if I wanted to because there were so many people there. Well, I knew them anyway, and it was fine, and that was it, yeah.
So when did you come back then to the Shurkin
I came
Islands?
back here when I was 25, and I opened a bed and breakfast here, which was sort of a hostel, I suppose, at the time. And the house was always full of people and music.
Your artwork, your house here is open up and it's just full of all your artwork.
Yeah.
Absolutely tremendous.
Yeah.
This is obviously something you've been doing, as you said, when you went to London, you went to Chelsea.
Yeah.
This has been a passion for you from day one, has it?
Yeah, it has, and I did sort of paint. Well, I've been always interested in painting and galleries and things like that when I travelled. And about, I suppose, 15 years ago, I just started painting full time, and that's 16 hours a day.
So I'm here with Norman. Norman, you're a resident of the island the past 40 years.
Yeah.
A little birdie told me that you toured the world musically.
Yeah, I did, singing songs and writing my own songs and play garden and telling stories about how great Ireland was and stuff like that.
And what got you to Shurkin Island?
I met Paddy Comerford and Natie Comerford in their flat when I was playing a gig in Germany, and I met them, and they told me to come to Shurkin Island, and I'd never heard of the place. And
so you're on the ferry, you're about to get here. What's the thoughts in your head about this place?
I felt at home. Immediately I came here, I felt at home.
Did you get that kind of, because I've got that from talking to people, at the minute they landed here, they knew they were going to stay here.
Exactly that. I pitched the tent up there, me and the missus pitched the tent up there, in that field over there. And the old hotel, not this new one, but the old hotel was there, and the landlord and landlady came up to us and one morning and said, listen, you haven't had a wash or a shave. And I said, I don't do shave. And she said, well, you don't have to shave, but come in and have a wash and we'll give you a breakfast. And they did. And immediately this was home for me.
And what is it for a guy that kind of
Well,
toured around the world? So what is it that kept you here?
Well, when I came here first, the place was humming with musicians. Seamus Cray, the well-known fiddle player, was the postmaster here. And all the musicians you could imagine have come here to visit me and to visit Seamus when he was alive, God love him. And the crack is just 90, right up my street, like, you know. Play garden and telling stories about the old country and things that happened to me travelling the world. And
well, it's safe to say that art is certainly alive and well here in Shurkin and certainly flourishing. A lot of that down to the work that Madge is doing in the background and all of the artists in the island. And Norman, what a character that guy is. Real rock and roller living here on Shurkin. I'd love to come back here and spend a bit more time with him, because I'm sure the stories would certainly keep me up till the wee hours of the morning. So if you have an event that you'd like us to cover, you can email us, corkirishtv.ie. If you're a fan of social media, then you can catch us on Facebook and Twitter. But till then, we'll see you in the second half.